Hi, how's it going? This is Resident of Colwyn, and I'm here to talk about Halloween Resurrection and why I feel the social media audience and the YouTubers sort of killed this movie in the end, and sort of, I feel, caused Halloween to go the direction it went. And really, I'm not going to start so much with Resurrection, but with Halloween H2O. Um, I saw both these movies, both at the same places, actually. Both at the Brownsville Drive-In Theater. Halloween Show in '98 and then Resurrection in 2002. And the one thing I remember distinctly watching H2O was the hands going up at the last minute before Laurie hit the person in the costume. And as soon as I seen that, I looked at my mom. I said, "It's not over," you know. And that's how I felt. I think any common sense person watching the movie knew, you saw that it wasn't over. But I think, though, too, to be fair, to play devil's advocate a little bit, I think it's sort of like how my brother treated it. To him, it was over, and something he told me, he goes, "I just want it to be over now." And I think that's where the majority audience wanted to just lie it. They wanted it to be over at that point in time. I don't know why. I would not. I'm just, again, that's just my viewpoint of it, my opinion. That I think there's audience members that wanted Halloween to be over. They didn't want it to go a sequel after each show, to start over. Um, and to be honest, I look at it like this, and something, me and my brother discussed prior to H2 coming out was, if they were going to end, now again, this was prior to seeing that movie, if they were going to end this here, if it was really going to end with H2O, which I didn't feel it was anyway, they needed to tie together the whole timeline. But it was obviously, when you watch a movie, only the first two movies are acknowledged. There's a lot of things with H2O before I get into Resurrection. Number one, everyone says about how the younger audience brought H2O to that movie. Okay, that's funny, because a lot of the younger audience I spoke to didn't even, they knew who Michael Myers was. They didn't know why the hell Jamie Lee Curtis was even in the movie. And that's what gets me. That's sort of where I call BS, because I hear that and I go, that's funny, because every young person I talked to who was younger than me kept asking one thing: why is Jamie Lee Curtis in a Halloween movie? They had not seen John Carpenter's first Halloween and then Halloween 2, and that was then. And being a horror fan, you're explaining it to them, and they're looking at you. I'm like, well, she was in the original Halloween. When was that? 1978. And so at that time, again, there were movie stores like Hollywood Video, Blockbuster, whatever you want to say. I'm like, look, go to a video store and rent both films. Hell, rent one of them. Anyone, both of them. Well, how many are there? Then that question came up. And it's like, well, there's this many. Well, why am I just watching the? Well, that's what they're going off of. And I remember that distinctly. And it just got to a point, you go, look, if you watch them, watch them. If you don't. But if you're wanting to get why she's in that movie, you do sort of need to go watch the first two. And my mom was actually shocked by how many young people didn't know Jamie Lee Curtis was in the it is shocking when you hear a lot of people say it. Like, everyone gets their start somewhere, right? But another thing is, H2, everyone's like, wait, it's going to be underwater? No, it's 20 years later. 20 years later, and that's what got into like the 1978 discussion and the Halloween 2 discussion. 20 years later after what? The original murders. What original murders? And again, it got it back to. So I think what who doesn't get enough credit is the horror fans who have to sit there and explain that. Because we were. I think a lot of us were. I know I was. I know a couple other people were. My brother, Bobby Santor, shout out to him. And a lot of people just ended up explaining the history of Halloween up until that point. And I looked at my brother. I said, half these people are going to either go watch those two movies and not get it, or they're going to watch the movies, come back with more questions, and then go see the new movie and go, still don't get it. And that's sort of what it was. That's the best way I could describe it. And I'm just like, look, what do you want me to do? So to me, and then my brother said something to me I'll never forget. He goes, honestly, he goes, after what they did, they time jumped. I just want it to be over. And this was after we saw it. I said, yeah, but it's not, right? I said, you saw what I saw. He goes, yeah, I saw that. He said, I just don't care. He goes, I just want it to be over. He said, they're never, and something my brother said, and it's sort of funny, they haven't. He said, they're never going to tie the timelines together. And that's sort of funny. They never have. I find it eerie. My brother, who's been dead since 2013, back in 1998, sort of predicted that this would happen, in a sense that they would never tie the timelines together. And that's sort of eerie about all this. That, and no one made it. I didn't make him right. He didn't make himself right. The studios made him right, really, by doing what they've done in the long haul of things. And this is sort of where it leads me into Resurrection. That I went to go see Resurrection, not the day it came out, but the very next day. And it's funny, the day it came out, I decided to go to Walmart. And I was sort of DVD window shopping then. And I had seen these kids, huge group of kids coming. And they were all excited. And I said, hey, man, what's up? And I remember, I'll never forget this. And they said, man, we just saw Halloween Resurrection. I'm like, oh, wow, how was it? They could have told me anything. They could have said it sucked. But they didn't. They loved it. Oh, man, Busta Rhymes was trying to kick Michael's ass with some karate moves. I'm like, really? So the younger audience seemed to, I don't know, relate to Resurrection more than I heard out of H2O. H2O, with the thing of it is, I'll never forget this. The Faculty came out, and people were more talking about the Faculty than Halloween H2O. I'll never forget that. When I was in high school, it wasn't so much the H2O talk. It was Faculty. I'd say more amongst the older group. And the younger group wasn't really mentioning H2O too much. They were mentioning Josh Hartnett and the Faculty as well. And so, yeah, H2O, yeah, did great numbers. But when you get into water cooler talk, to me, water cooler talk was the Faculty. 2002, I wasn't in school, so I don't know what the water cooler talk was then. I would assume it was Resurrection, because I just kept hearing so many young people say about Halloween Resurrection. And then the next day, I'll never forget, we went to the Brownsville Drive-In Theater, and we saw it, and the biggest reason I remember all this is my mom was legally blind, and I remember describing the movie in detail to her. And that's something where when you have to describe a movie to somebody, you're paying attention to every little thing. And so I really enjoyed the movie, describing it to my mother. And she said, "Hey, thank you." And I said, "Mom, I love you." And so I saw it with my mom and my girlfriend at the time, who's my wife now. Who's been my wife for many years. But and I'll never forget that after that, I never, and something I told Darnell Wick's fellow YouTuber and friend, shout out to him, you know, I never heard anybody really bitch about Resurrection until about 2007. And somebody was saying to me, "Hey, do you know what YouTube is?" And I'm not sure. And they're like, "Well, this is what it's like, whatever, television." I said, "Oh, okay." And I didn't get on it right away. And years went by, and I seen somebody I knew, and they asked me, "Did I still like Halloween Resurrection?" I said, "Yeah, man. Why?" I said, "Hell, I own it." I said, "I own all the Halloweens," and I said, I enjoy it." And again, I didn't own Rob Zombies at the time, and I didn't like Rob Zombies. And somebody said, "Man, people on the internet are killing Halloween Resurrection." I said, "Over what?" And he said, "I don't know, just seemingly over everything." And I'm like, "That's their opinion." He goes, "No, they're like saying it like fact, and they're saying you shouldn't like this movie." I said, and this is what I said to the guy. Anyone telling you what to like and what not to like has an inferiority complex. Anyone telling you not to like something just because they don't want to like it, that's insecurity 101. And it is. I've never told someone what not to like. I've never told someone what to like. If I don't like something, I don't like it. If you do, great. If you like something and I don't, no big deal. And that's just how it is. I think that Resurrection was picked apart by the YouTubers who went out there and, "Oh, Laurie Strode died." Okay, she's a character, so what? She died. Jamie Lee Curtis, you know, and something he said to me, he goes, "Well, they said Jamie Lee Curtis' character got killed off." And I said, "Yeah, that happened." And I said, "Well, did they say why she was killed off?" And he goes, "What do you mean?" And I said, "Well, Jamie Lee Curtis didn't want to be in Halloween no more." I said, "That's public knowledge." And by this time it was. And I think that's funny because that's something I didn't hear said certain YouTubers who will remain nameless mention. It's funny, they want to bitch. And to me, that's what it is. It's bitching. It's not ranting, it's bitching. It's you're bitching about a fictional character being killed off. Okay, let me get this straight. Michael Myers, who's a serial killer, can't kill one woman. That's not a very credible serial killer now, is he? No, he's not. If you can't kill one person, they've survived you how many times, and you can't kill them? Where's the credibility? That's something I was always taught when we did stage plays, when we did writing, is when you write a story, yeah, you can have a character live through something, but that depends on the story. You can't keep having the person live. That's just, that's not credible. That every character has merit, okay? Just like a person. But the difference is the character you can do whatever you want with, yes, but keep it inside a confines of, okay, is this character indestructible? Okay, no, then they could be hurt or killed. Okay, What does this character do? Who does this character interact with? So forth, so forth, so forth. And then you get into Michael Myers. It's like, okay, who does Michael Myers interact with? Well, Michael Myers interacts with a lot of people because he goes after a lot of people. And he also goes after his family. And when he goes after his family, let's see, he killed his niece, okay? He killed the Strodes in Halloween 6. The only person he really didn't get was Stephen Lloyd, which he was the baby. Danny Strode. Alright. That's funny, Halloween, because you look at all these characters and you go, is Laurie Strode the only main character to survive Michael Myers? No, obviously not. But it seems to be the one that's the one everyone's most upset with. And I've often said, look, I didn't mind Rachel dying, but it's when she died. If they would have killed her later off in the movie, I wouldn't have mind so much. I still enjoy Halloween 5. It's sort of a shocking death at the beginning. I do feel that her character was sort of, betrayed in a sense, but again, there's nothing I can do about that. That's my viewpoint of it. If yours is different, fine. But in the same sense, you look at Laurie Strode. This wasn't a sense of, okay, Rachel Harris's character, the girl who played Rachel, she didn't want to be killed off, but she ended up getting killed off. Now, or at least killed off at that point, I guess. Here's the thing. Jamie Lee Curtis in Halloween Resurrection, they wanted her to stick around. She didn't want to stick around no more. And it sort of reminds me of H2O. About something my brother said. I just don't want to stick around no more with Halloween. Okay, that was Laurie Strode, Jamie Lee Curtis's mentality in Resurrection. She didn't want to stick around. And I remember asking my brother, I said, how did you feel about Laurie Strode dying? And Halloween Resurrection, he actually did break down and watch it. He said, I didn't mind it. He said, it is what it is. He said, Michael Myers is a killer. He's bound to get you eventually. And that's how I took it. Like, eventually, someone tries enough times, they're going to get you. That's how I viewed that from a theatrical sense. But, you can't tell certain ones that. Because they get upset and they start crying. And it's just like, I get to the point of, okay, people hate Resurrection because Laurie Strode died. That's their reasoning. And that's their main reason. Then you get past that and you go, okay, she's just a character. Look, they wiped the slate clean to bring her back in a new movie, so what was the big deal crying about it? And they could have did that at any time, by the way. Really, if you wanted to make the case, you could have had her live somehow with that experience, but again, they didn't. Alright? To play devil's advocate here. Then the biggest one, and this was what really just makes me roll my eyes. Well, Busta Rhymes fought Michael Myers. Okay, name me one person outside of Busta Rhymes who actually knew karate, or Busta Rhymes' character in the Halloween franchise who knew karate. None. None. So, Michael Myers, the serial killer, never saw Kung Fu before. And really, this is only going off the first two, so he's definitely not, we're not including 4, 5, and 6. Again, I think a lot of people bury Resurrection for no good goddamn reason. They just want to bury it to bury it. I've legitimately made points at the, for or against a new movie. They're legit points. I didn't just look at them and go, oh, that's awful. No. Do I feel Busta Rhymes' character was hung out to dry? Well, let me put it this way. I do feel that what happened with Busta Rhymes' character wasn't Busta Rhymes' fault. I'm not going to fault someone for trying too damn hard. Okay, that's an actor's job, is to try. Have you ever seen the show Whose Line Is It Anyway? What do they do in that show? They freestyle. Well, that's what Buster Rhymes looked like he was doing. I'm not going to kill somebody for that. Sorry, I'm just not. And to me, that's what he did. That's my viewpoint of it. And I just think a lot of people over the years went, oh, you shouldn't like this movie. You shouldn't like this movie. No. Why? Because people who just want to be dicks say so. And that's what it is. I think Resurrection just gets hated to get hated. I don't hate it. I enjoy the shit out of it. And look, if you don't, you don't. If you do, great, you do. But I think the fact that Resurrection got hate over the years by internet and YouTubers, certain ones, it killed it. I think it killed any chance of a Halloween night. I think my brother is going to end up being right. You will never get one. I think they'll throw out any excuse that people will swallow, and they certainly have. Rolled out excuse after excuse, which is one is, oh, it's been too long, but then again, 1978 is older than the 2002. And that's just what it is. I think, they'll throw any excuse not to do one. Oh, we can't tie the timelines together. Actually, I shouldn't knock that one because they didn't do a good job with Hawkins. So, and I've said that. I wish they would have did a better job with Hawkins. They should have used a flashback. So they can't tie 40 years together. So why should I believe they could tie 2002 from 2018 together, or 2019, or what the hell ever? Well, 2019 now. So that's sort of my opinion about this. I feel that certain YouTubers and social media just killed this movie. And it all started with H2O, really. I think H2O, a lot of people they just wanted it to be over. And look, just like I told my brother, that's fine. But here's the thing. I didn't force my brother to watch Resurrection. And if he was alive, he'd tell you the same damn thing. He kept asking me about it. And I said, it's all right, it's all right. I said, I like it, He said, what would you give it? I said, 8.5. He said, really? And I said, yeah. Now, mind you, me and my brother fought like cats and dogs. People who know me and my brother, we fought a lot. So he could have called me up, watched it, called me up and said, fuck you, I hate it. And that'd have been his point of view. Trust me. Okay, let me give you an example. I like Halloween 3. My brother does not. He did not like Halloween 3 at all. So, my brother used to make fun of me for watching Halloween 3, Season of the Witch. And I said, hey man, you don't like it, you don't like it. But it is what it is. So, when he called me up and said, hey man, I love Resurrection. I said, great man, cool. I said, is there anything you don't like about it? And he said, no, not really. He said, I wish they would have spent a little more time in them tunnels. He goes, or made the tunnels bigger or something. But that really wasn't a knock on the film. It was just, he wished something more would have been in there. And I remember him saying that. So this has been my video. Like, share, comment, subscribe. I'll see you guys next time.